Am I wrong to continue to listen to Tory Lanez?
Good question. What I was going to ask Gatrey is, what is our responsibility as men who aren't abusive to women? Do we have a responsibility here?
We do, and for men like us, I mean, we have to exercise platforms such as this one to honestly proclaim that we don't treat our significant others this way, and then also we do have responsibility too, as men, to be somewhat understanding of the emotional duress Tory had to been going through to move him to want to shoot this woman twice, and we have to deal with things on that level. And I think the most popular vehicle with that is, one of my favorite words, transparency. We have to share stories about, when my wife came in, and this happened yesterday. I mean, my wife came in with an energy, centered around this party we were having for my boy. And she was just, she was coming at me sideways, and I knew I didn't deserve it. And so we need to talk about like that kind of stuff and be like, okay, well, Walker, that went down. This is how I handle it. This is how I invited her to come back to the bedroom. And this is how I was able to look her in the eyes calmly and share, hey, this is what I'm detecting. I'm not feeling good about it. Instead of me saying, okay, let me drag her by her hair in the room and let me physically get my frustrations out. So that I think all that encompasses our responsibility as beacons of men who are treating our Black women the correct way. What do you think?
Well, I agree with that. I mean, you and I, we understand how we should relate to our wives, right? And as well as other Black women. I want to read something to you.
Story time with Walker. This is what I show up for.
So the female, and this is the Observer. Her name is, and forgive me, Tobili Hatcher is a columnist for the Observer, and she wrote kind of like a piece on just talking about you can't protect Black lives without protecting Black women. Good read. And one of the pieces she says is that all she's asking is that people match the energy they have for abolishing the police when it comes to fighting for and protecting Black women. And she mentioned a lot of times it feels, again, it's a feeling, a sentiment, that the only people who are fighting for Black women are other Black women. Yet when it comes to fighting everyone else's battles, Black women are just expected to be at the forefront of those battles. Black Lives Matter, fighting for Black men, the whole nine. And where the sentiment comes from, and the question I asked one of my homeboys is, I think not shooting women and not being abusive, while we shouldn't do that, and I appreciate you for not doing that with your wife, that's a low bar. As it pertains to us as men who aren't abusive and speaking out, what is that action? How do we change the narrative around that sentiment that Black women oftentimes in the effort to fight against violence and mistreatment towards them, how do we switch that sentiment around to where women feel like they're not alone? And what can we as Black men do to make women feel safe and make women feel like, hey, you do have a multitude of Black men out here who are willing to stand arm in arm with you, even be out in front if need be, to speak out against these things. And my thing is, it's important for us using this platform to speak to that and say, listen, the past few months, people have made fun of this situation. It wasn't funny. I never understood why people made light of the situation because this had domestic violence written all over it. So for us to joke about that speaks about for you to even try to find humor in it. I question you a lot. And not you, but I'm saying I question people and where they are in terms of how we've normalized trauma to where we can make it comedic, right? But if we support a Tory Lanez at this point and listen to his music, is that enabling? And unfortunately, Gatrey, I think it is to a degree, because my thing is, there are some people, you got some people who are invested in their development and growth, right? You have people who want to learn and grow. They learn something about themselves, or they change their behavior, they get better as a human being. There are people who invested in their personal growth and development. There are some people not so much. There are other people who are distracted by other things in life, their career, whatever it is they got going on. They don't have time to really work on themselves. They're out here trying to get this money, right? Well, along the way, if you're demonstrating behavior that is very problematic, for those individuals, it's almost like you're going to have to learn by experience and learn by consequence instead of just instruction. Because obviously, I have to believe that someone like Tory Lanez has had people talking to him, or have had examples of people trying to instruct, yo, you need to cool it on your temper or whatever it is you got going on. Is that fair to say?
Not really, but I'll let you cook.
So no one has said, Tory, you got to chill.
We don't know. We don't know the 4-foot man. We don't even know who he is.
Gatrey, someone has had to say it.
Okay, it's okay for me to disagree, Walker, but keep cooking.
So he's going through life in a silo, and no one has said, Tory.
All I'm saying is we don't know this man. So how can we speak for anything that he's gone through? All we have is the music, and 90% of that is false.
My point is this. Some people have to learn the hard way, unfortunately. And I don't think by continuing to support a Tory Lanez musically, I don't know if Tory ever will learn his lesson. If people are still streaming his music, buying his music, supporting him, going to, if we ever get back to touring and doing shows, if people continue to go to his shows, I don't know if Tory learns that lesson. So it's almost, I know how you feel about, and we've lamented quite often on this platform about cancel culture, but is this a situation where cancel culture actually becomes necessary and a person finally, the light bulb coming on?
Not in my opinion.
So what allows him to get it?
Divine intervention.
You don't have an answer, Gatrey.
I just gave you one.
That is not an answer.
Divine intervention is not an answer?
No. So God's going to come down. So God's going to come down and just say, Tory, you need to chill.
I believe the Lord has delivered things to me before.
And he came down physically. So you're going to continue to listen to Tory Lanez?
Yeah, I listened to him this morning. He's on playlist. I listened to him on the Peloton.
Okay.
Because and again, I've stood on the soapbox a lot about this. I am equipped to know that entertainment most of the times is only giving us a glimpse of who these people really are. Some people have to change who they are in order to entertain, right? So that means you are probably not the person you portray in the music I listen to. I understand that. I definitely understand that. Seen it with what's the guy's name? Marilyn Manson. You think this dude's really out here worshiping Satan? No, this dude's creating.
Do you know him? Do you know him?
I said think. I didn't say do I know.
But you just made an assumption about what he is. And
I said thought. Your example on Tory Lanez was based on fact. And I said, we don't know this man.
I said, do you think someone has talked to him, whether he listened to him or not? Someone has said.
You said, I'm pretty sure someone has talked to him along the lines. That's exactly what you said. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
But in his 20 plus years of living, you don't think
I'm pretty sure and I think are two different things.
Okay.
So that's my whole thing. Entertainment is entertainment. Like entertainment is developed to incite a certain mood, certain emotion to that kind of has an impact on us. It is in my opinion, it is no reflection on the human being that is producing said music. Just my opinion.
Ronnie Gatrey, ladies and gentlemen. He's spoken. So just to be clear, can I paraphrase what you were saying earlier
Sure.
about Meg?
Sure.
Your whole point with Meg is it took me a while to capture it because you were saying you kind of, we got off in the weeds. You're saying Meg should not have lied to protect Tory.
I'm not saying, I never said that. You asked me how I felt about the situation, Walker, and I told you I was confused. I gave you the components upon which I was confused. Then I gave you the thoughts that support that confusion. None of that said what you just spewed out right now.
But you don't believe that.
Don't believe what?
That Meg should have lied on Tory.
I don't believe that she should have. As a husband and father, I cannot condone lying.
Sure. So you agree with what I said?
No, not 100%.
Okay. You were just confused about that whole situation, and Tory shouldn't have shot her, and you're confused with Meg and why and whatever she says from this point on, you're confused because you don't know what to believe. You know whether she's coming or going because of that one incident. Shall we move on?
Please, Walker. You just took this podcast to a weird place.
You are trash in your delivery. I just